Turn up the dive, feel the vibe, get ready to ignite. Untold stories in the airways, flying through the night. Experience voices, tales so bold. Streaming live, the truth unfolds. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild ride. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can't hide. Aliens in the attic, UFOs in the sky. Cryptids lurking, oh my, oh my. Ghosts in the hallway, whispering your name. The paranormal, the unexplained. Become a VIP, get the inside scoop. Unlock the mysteries, be part of the group. Live streaming stories, they're talking to you. Super chats buzzing, join the crew. Untold Radio Network, where secrets come alive. New episodes daily, the mysteries thrive. Great guests, super chat, it's a wild member ride. Share and subscribe, join the side where truth can hide. So if you've got the guts and you want to explore, tune into the Untold, it's what you're looking for. From aliens to ghosts and all that's unseen. Untold Radio Network, where the world's mysteries convene.
Good morning, monsters, and welcome to this week's episode of Monsters on the Edge on the Untold Radio Network. We are live here today, and we have a great guest, so I'm pretty excited. He's always a lot of fun to talk to. We will get to that in just a second here. I want to remind everybody, coming up this weekend, the Hodag Heritage Festival in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. It's going to be a great day. There's festival stuff going on all week, but Saturday is the big event down there that starts off with pancakes and a parade and all kinds of stuff. So if you're around Rhinelander, Wisconsin, come on out. And if you're into Bigfoot, we are going to be doing a Bigfoot public hike. Informational and educational, and going out and looking for the big guy. That'll be at 7 p.m. that evening with the CAPS team. And tickets are still available for that at wisconsincaps.com. The rest of the festival is free. You can come on out and check out live music and food and vendors and all kinds of cool stuff. And then, guys, Marinette Menominee Bigfoot and Paranormal Convention, May 31st and June 1st in Marinette, Wisconsin. Myself, last week's guest, Rich Daniels, Chad Lewis, and next week's guest, Doug Hychek, will all be presenters at this event. And 7 p.m. Saturday evening, there's also a psychic gallery reading by Angela Zabel. Again, there will be vendors and there will be lunch there. If you can't make it in person, guys, we also have virtual tickets. You can go online and pick up a virtual ticket for just $5, and you can listen live to all the presentations all day long. Will be live streamed. So if you're interested, we also have tickets still available for the May 31st Friday evening Bigfoot hike. With that, myself and Rich Daniels will be leading a group out onto the Hayden Adventure property, 80 acres of private property just outside of Menominee, Michigan. That has been a hot spot of Bigfoot and weird activities since 2012. So over 10 years of cool stuff going on there. June, we are heading down to June 8th. We are heading down to Chicago Paranormal Convention in Chicago, Countryside, Illinois, at the Countryside Conference Center. Going to be a great time there as well. And then we head to Squonkapalooza in August and CryptidCon Lexington, Kentucky in November. And as always, a whole ton of libraries throughout the state of Wisconsin. And so if you guys are interested, head on over to wisconsincaps.com and click on the public events page. And there you can find out all the information on that. And if you're interested in supporting all things here on the Untold Radio Network, here's how.
Hey, Untold Radio Network fans. Want exclusive perks and to support our channel? Introducing our YouTube membership program with 3 amazing levels. Get loyalty badges that level up to different cryptids the longer you're a supporter. How cool is that? You'll also get access to custom Bigfoot emojis and priority in chat. Upgrade to Backstage Pass for exclusive wallpapers, photos, status updates, discounted books, and merchandise. Go all in with the producer level for everything mentioned plus member shoutouts. Ready for an enhanced experience? Join now, pick your membership level, and let's make this journey even more exciting together.
All right, guys, here is our guest for today, somebody that a lot of you should be familiar with. He's appeared on a ton of other podcasts on our show and other podcasts all over the place. He is a documentary filmmaker and a former co-host of the Cryptid Campfire podcast. And he is most currently a documentary filmmaker with Small Town Monsters. Please welcome to the show, Eli Watson. Welcome to the show, man.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I hate to be like this, but may I offer a small correction?
Yeah.
Cryptid Campfire has come back.
I heard that.
Yes. So former and current host of Cryptid Campfire. So
congratulations. Yeah. Another major thing on your list of to-dos.
Yes, it is. So we try to do it once a month. So we're not back to the way we were doing it once a week, which is that can be exhausting, as I'm sure you might know. But
I do 2 of these a week. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought I heard that, but I wasn't sure if it was out yet or if you were just something that was coming. So do you have new episodes out already?
Yeah. So I think our most recent episode came out May 2nd. I want to say it was. So, and we talked about Easter and the Wolpertinger.
Cool.
Yes.
Nice.
So yeah, but no, thank you for having me on. I love being on this show. So I want you to know this, Barnaby, and I want the viewers to know this too. But I have a list. So I'll do any podcast once, but if I don't like you, I won't do it again. So I do like you and I enjoy our conversation, so I'm always happy to be on the show.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, man. You are awesome. I am a fan of Cryptid Campfire. I was listening to that before I ever knew you, as I've said before. Then I was watching Nash Hoover's show, Chasing Legends, and there you were again. And I'm like, hey, I know that voice. I know that guy. There he is. And then you showed up other places and more places, and you've just grown and expanded. It's so cool to watch all the things that you've done and your career kind of skyrocket here. So it's awesome, man. Congrats.
I appreciate it. Yeah. It's been a lot of work to get here, but I'm here. So a celebrity in the Bigfoot world or the cryptid world, I guess.
So Cryptid Campfire's out. You can get that on any podcast platform pretty much, right?
Correct. Yes. And you can always go to cryptidcampfire.com. So to directly get to it. We don't sell t-shirts anymore, though I am trying to figure out how to do that again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's exciting news. What else have you got going on? I mean, like, there's so much. Well, let's do this before we get to all the stuff you got going on. You guys have a big event coming up from Small Town Monsters, and I
Correct.
want to make sure that we get this in and promote it because this is awesome. I got to go to the first event last year, and this is the second one, and I will not be able to make it to this one, but it looks like an amazing group of speakers here. You want to tell us all about it?
Yeah, so that's Monsterfest 2. As you can see, it's June 29th in downtown Canton, Ohio at the Doubletree. And yeah, so lots of big people going to be there. Cryptid Campfire. Apparently we made the, the sheet.
I should have looked closer at the banner.
Yeah. So we'll be doing a live podcast there, and all three of us will be there, which is it's going to be our first live podcast, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And then on June 28th at the Canton Palace Theater, which is just a few blocks away from the Doubletree, we'll be premiering my film, Cursed Waters, which is about Ogopogo. I'm super stoked about that.
Awesome. Yeah, look at the lineup here. This is amazing. All the people that you got here. You know, Ken Gerhardt, Paul Bartholomew. Oh my gosh, there's so many cool people there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a fantastic event. Oh yes.
Yeah, it was a great first year convention last year. I mean, obviously you have the backing of Small Town Monsters and everything putting it on, so you have a lot of power there, and it was a good event. Very good.
Yes, you were there. Are you going to be there again?
No, I can't make it this year. I got other stuff
bummer.
going on that weekend, but
Oh, bummer. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, last year felt like a blur. I mean, there's just so much going on, and it's different. And I don't mean to sound like pompous when bringing this up, but like I get recognized at events, but Monsterfest, because everyone at Monsterfest is a Small Town Monsters fan, the level of recognition I felt like I couldn't walk 10 feet without someone wanting to talk to me,
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So it was, we'll see how this year goes, but yeah, I'm excited. It's a great lineup. I'm friends with I think there's only 2 people I don't know on this list. So, but yeah, everyone, I mean, like last year, I hadn't really talked to Jim Harold or Scott Philbrook, but I ended up having dinner with them by complete happenstance. It was me, Jim Harold, and Scott Philbrook, and I was like, gosh, I don't know what do I talk about? And we ended up just talking about UFOs. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't make it out there. Like I said, it was a great event. The venue was terrific. It was set up well, run well, very, very well done for a first year convention. I can only imagine, it says food trucks. We didn't have food trucks last year. I don't remember.
No, we did not have food trucks last year. We didn't have workshops. Workshops are something new. So I think Wild and Weird West Virginia, that's Joe and Ron there. I think they're they're showing, or maybe it's Amy Boo. I can't remember. They're showing how to do casts. Okay. So I think that's highly informative, good for people who are interested in getting out in the field. You'll be able to learn firsthand how to make a plaster cast. And, that's, a very important thing because it's not something that people really do in their everyday life. So, and it's good to know that knowledge in case you do come across something in the woods. So, and then there's a couple other workshops going on and also guest speakers like we did last year. But yeah, the food trucks are huge. I'm looking forward to the food trucks.
Awesome. Very cool. Yep. Very cool. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope maybe I can come back out next year to number 3. So that should be great.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So you mentioned during this that your new documentary, The Cursed Waters, debuts. Let's hear all about that. Let's what have you been working on with your small town lake monsters?
Well, I am very fortunate to have done I guess this is the second lake monster documentary Small Town Monsters has produced. The first being On the Trail of Champ, which is about Champ, the Lake Champlain monster. And then Ogopogo, it was very serendipitous how everything came together, because I had just started my show, Mysteries and Monsters, which was airing last year. And then I knew I wanted Mysteries and Monsters to be like a different monster every week. And I had done Bigfoot, I had covered like a UFO cult, I had done something else UFO related, and I was like, okay, I want to do like a lake monster. And it just so happened that as a whole, we were doing this huge shoot in British Columbia in May of last year, exactly a year ago, actually. And I was like, well, if we're going to British Columbia, that's the perfect time to go to Lake Okanagan and do something, right? It's like, so, and that's what I did. And the shoot was 2 days and 3 nights. And I did it with a good friend of mine named Jason Hewlett, who is a part of like the Canadian Paranormal Society, I think. And he's featured heavily in the movie. And yeah, it was an awesome experience. We interviewed, some of the local people there. We interviewed John Kirk. We interviewed the people who took that photograph a couple years ago. If you remember, towards the end of 2022, this photo started circulating around the internet that was supposedly of Ogopogo, and there was quite a bit of a stir. People saying it was a wolf, people saying it was a bird. I don't know what it is, but the simplest explanation, having interviewed the people who took the photo, is that it is what it looks like. It's Ogopogo. I don't know. I think that I don't want to say anything else, but you have to watch the movie. You have to watch the movie. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. Everything we did in 2 days was just kind of insane. So
awesome. So did you guys get to go out and look for the Ogopogo?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a different approach. We didn't do anything like sonar. We didn't do any sonar research or anything like that. I'm seeing lots of comments here, if I may answer them.
Absolutely.
Where will your movie be shown? So it will premiere on June 28th at the Canton Palace Theater in Ohio, Monsterfest 2. You can see in the upper right corner. Thanks, Barnaby, for throwing that up.
No
So that's when it premieres. We're trying to have it debut. It will be available on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure about Paraflix, but Amazon Prime for sure in July. And then also available on DVD and Blu-ray. So you guys can get the copies there. But that'll be out in like July, like I said. So you'll have to wait a little bit unless you want to come out to Monsterfest, and you'll get to see it at the end of June. So
very cool.
What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so yeah, we did do some searching, but it's different. It's more of a historical approach to the topic, because putting together an actual expedition would have been very, very expensive. So, I mean, this project already went over budget just by renting a boat, so and just going out to different places. And so I couldn't imagine getting a boat with sonar and having divers in the water and whatnot. So that aspect, I guess, is the only thing lacking from the film. But overall, I think in terms of video evidence, I mean, hold on, let me count. There's 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think there's 5 pieces. There's 3 videos and 2 alleged photographs in this one documentary. And I think as far as a cryptid documentary with evidence in it, I think that's a lot, So I'm pretty stoked about that. I think it's pretty interesting to have so much video and photo in the documentaries. I think that'll satiate people's desire for evidence. Yeah.
Do you have like new evidence or stuff exclusive to this? Like, is there going to be some fun new stuff released in this?
No, no, but just stuff that probably hasn't been seen by a whole lot of people.
Mhm.
Stuff that isn't easily accessible. Like one that I can talk about is the Damara footage. So Paul Damara was a guy who filmed several Ogopogo swimming in the lake in 1992. And his footage apparently has been seen in documentaries before, but I can't find anything about it online. And we were fortunate enough to be able to get that and put that in the documentary. And it's a complete scan of the original footage, as high quality as possible. And I mean, like I said, I don't know where else you can watch it. I mean, the only time I saw it was when after I contacted Paul Damara and he sent me the footage. So, I mean, and now that's in this documentary. Like I said, the most recent piece of footage would be October of 2022, was a photograph, sorry. And from what I understand, that's been licensed out to other documentaries at this point. But as far as the very first people to investigate that particular photograph, the very first people to interview them was Jason and I. So I think that I'm very proud of. We were first on the scene, you know. So that's where I'm at with that.
Very cool.
So yeah, nothing exclusive, but things that have not been seen very much.
Sounds great. Yeah, I know a lot of the small town monster stuff is more of, like you said, more of the documentary style than the actual go out and investigate. And that's kind of cool that it tells, more of the history and stuff, because, you see so many photos and evidence and, hoaxes and all this stuff of all these different creatures and that out there. And it's nice to actually have the shows that go in and do the history and take a look at what's actually going on, more so even than the actual creatures themselves and looking for them, because as we all know, anybody that's tried to go out and look for any of these creatures, I mean, it's a shot in the dark. You try and get a video of Ogopogo or a Bigfoot or anything, and you're gonna be wasting a lot of time and money if you don't have it. So
oh yeah, oh absolutely, yeah, you can't, doing what we do, you can't bake on having a sighting. It's great when it happens, and it has happened a few times, but again, few and far between. So you can't be like, yeah, we're going to go up to British Columbia and find Ogopogo. Yeah, no. People have spent their entire lives and not found it. So, bummer. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we cover everything. I mean, I interviewed, what I'm really proud of is the Okanagan tribe, or the what are they called? The Sioux people, the First Nations, Okanagan First Nations. And they talked to us about the historical tradition they have of Ogopogo in the lake. So, I mean, we cover everything from, pre-colonialization to present day. I think that's, the longest period of time I think I've covered in a documentary yet. So talking about hundreds of years. So yeah.
So what is your thoughts on the lake monsters? I know you said that you have done Champ as well. I know a lot of the times you hear like the stories, they're all from the same longitude, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that these creatures obviously exist, if you've seen the footage and stuff like that? Do you think that they're more of like plesiosaurs, or you brought up some of the native lore there, and a lot of the lore around this stuff is more of like these dragons, or the thunderbirds and stuff like that. What do you think the odds are that these creatures may be, like prehistoric dragons? Could they fly out of these lakes and that's why nobody can find them?
I don't know about that. I haven't heard much about, especially in particular to Ogopogo. There's nothing about it leaving the lake. So for the Okanagan First Nations, they believe that Ogopogo, when seen as the form that we all know it as, so Ogopogo is interesting because it's not a plesiosaur. In fact, it's the only lake monster I can think of that is not reported to look anything like a plesiosaur. It's much more serpentine. It looks like a giant snake in water, and it ranges from anywhere between 20 to 60 feet in length. So it's a pretty large, massive thing. But for the Okanagan First Nations, they believe it's the spirit of the lake. And so they they have two spirits, the rattlesnake and Ogopogo. And the rattlesnake is the spirit of the land, and Ogopogo is the spirit of the lake. And so a lot of the times it is just the lake, and very rarely does it manifest into a physical form. And so I think what's interesting too, it's called Rattlesnake Island there in the lake. And that's where they believe that the two worlds connect there. It's so underneath Rattlesnake Island is the home of Ogopogo, allegedly. And then Rattlesnake Island itself is home to literally quite a lot of rattlesnakes. So, but they believe that's where the two spirits meet and the two worlds connect, is right there. So as far as Ogopogo goes, I mean, it is the lake. And so the lake doesn't fly away. It's always there. You know, a champ, I don't know as much about the Native American folklore of that. I just know more about the sightings, you know, and that is very classic. I mean, you look at the Mansi photo, very, very classic plesiosaur. And I will say, I know there's more lake monsters all around, some in the Great Lakes and whatnot. Loch Ness is another one that Loch Ness, dude, I don't even know if that's like a physical thing. There's so much witchcraft and weird rituals being performed at Loch Ness. I have no idea if it's like some sort of paranormal manifestation of something. I have no idea. Because when you look back at Loch Ness, I mean, there's not a whole lot of super historical stuff. You look back at Loch Ness and the sightings go back to the 1920s, the 1930s, which is shortly after Aleister Crowley was there and him doing his weird rituals there, which allegedly he tried to perform one and then didn't finish it. So who knows what that did? But you go back further, I mean, there's no reports of anything in the lake up until that point. So that makes me question that. You look at Champ, you look at Ogopogo, and the sightings go back hundreds, thousands of years, you know? So certainly some of these things might not... I'm not sure if I'm convinced any of these lake monsters are plesiosaurs, to be honest. Like plesiosaur in the truest sense, because plesiosaurs breathed air, and so they would need to come up to the surface to breathe air. And so, I mean, certainly there's reports of Champ being seen on land in kind of these marshy areas just on the shores of the lake, you know. So maybe there's some kind of amphibian where they need to stay moist, stay wet. But, I mean, I just don't know. I don't know enough. But I think when you're looking at large animals in the lake, there's certainly plenty of food source, you know. Both Lake Champlain and Lake Okanagan are home to salmon, large quantities of salmon. And so, I mean, there's a lot of protein in salmon. So, I mean, if a large predatory animal needed something to eat, I think there's plenty of salmon there. That's my long-winded answer that isn't really an answer to your question.
I love those. Catherine says, always love hearing First Nations historical feedback for authenticity. That's
yeah.
Mm-hmm. It you know, like it shows you the history, the provenance of these things, you know, as far as, you know, it goes back farther than our written history and colonialization and all that
right.
You know, these people can say, well, we've seen it before the internet, before books, before, you know, the European European people came over here and made up stories about what they saw because they didn't understand it. You have all these people's traditions, oral stories, pictographs, all that stuff dating back. It adds a lot of authenticity to it.
Yeah.
You go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what you said there exactly touches on what's covered in the movie. Actually, we talk about how the First Nations people believe Ogopogo is one thing. It's a water spirit, and how the colonizers and, I guess colonialism has kind of taken what Ogopogo was and transformed it into something else. And I think it's a really interesting study in how things can change meaning over time. But at the same time, you have the one commonality in that there is something in the lake. And I think Matt Pruitt talks about in his book, The Phenomenal Sasquatch. But I think it's important to apply this to certain things when you can, to where you can take this as evidence to mean that there is something in the lake. The fact that there are two cultures seeing it. So, I mean, if Ogopogo was, merely a First Nations belief, that it was merely just a water spirit that they believed in, then you wouldn't expect colonizers, people who did not have the same culture or even respect their culture, to be seeing things in the lake that match that description, right? They wouldn't. So the only conclusion you can come to is that they're both seeing the same thing. And though they might disagree on what it is, it points to something being in the lake.
That's a very good point. That
Right.
we can't agree on what it is, but we're all seeing something there. And I think that's the most important thing with all of this stuff. Any kind of cryptid anywhere is, you have so many reports of these things happening. And, even if 10 reports of Bigfoot, if 10 reports of these lake monsters actually are legitimate 100% sightings, there's still something that someone saw. And that's the important takeaway from all this.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to take a really quick break here for station identification. And if you guys have any questions or comments, we got a few in there. So get them in there, put them in all caps, and we will get to them. We're talking with Eli Watson from Small Town Monsters.
Show your support for the Untold Radio Network family of shows and join in on the conversation by using super stickers and super chats on YouTube. Got a question you want answered? Ask it live via a super chat and get real-time responses from our show's knowledgeable hosts and guests. Help keep the Untold Radio Network shows running strong. We need your support. Send your super chats and stickers now.
We got a lot of Super Chats members in the audience today. I want to thank you guys all for being a part of this show. I noticed like the little green ones are all the Super Chats, but some people's got these blue ones, and the blue ones have the little wrench next to it. I'm curious. I don't know what that means. So if somebody that has the blue Super Chats thing tells me what that means, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I've only seen it on like one or two people's thing, but I have no idea what it is. So I'm just curious. But
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never seen it.
yeah, no, it's I don't know if you see it over in the chat over there. There's a couple people with it, but yeah. Yeah, like Catherine has it.
Mm-hmm.
Moderators. Oh, thank you.
Oh, interesting.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you. Yeah, we are talking today with Eli Watson from Small Town Monsters. They got a huge event coming up here, Canton, Ohio, on June 28th and 29th. It's going to be an awesome event. Tons of great speakers here, food trucks. We said we were all excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the area, make sure you guys go out and check it out anywhere around Canton, Ohio. But we have some questions here. I want to get to stick with the lake monster-y stuff first here, and then we'll come back to the other ones. But Lee says in 565 AD, Irish monk Saint Columba.
No, it is Columba. That is spelled correctly. Yeah.
All right.
It's an interesting name. Yeah. So that is in reference to, I think. So St. Columba came to Ireland, and I think came across some people who were pretty upset. I think someone had gotten eaten by a monster in this river, actually. It's not even Loch Ness. It's in a river somewhere in Ireland. And someone had gotten eaten, so St. Columba said that they would help, and apparently either got into the water and pulled out this crucifix, holding up the cross, and was able to make this monster like cough up the person. And I think they were still dead, so they had to bury them, but they ended up slaying the monster as well. I think, yeah, the river Ness that flows into Loch Ness, but I'm not sure. I don't know if we can. I understand that there has to be some verification by the Catholic Church and whatnot, but there's also a lot of evidence to point to that the book that appears in about St. Columba's life was written a good deal like 100 years after he had passed away. So the actual authenticity of that happening, I mean, maybe he did see something. Maybe there were people talking about a monster in the lake. I'm not sure. But there's also not a whole lot of description as to what that monster looked like. And I mean, as far as I know, there's not a whole lot of reports of the Loch Ness monster eating people. There's also the story of Abramelin the Mage, who came across a horse with a gold piece in its mouth, and that transformed into a monster and chased him back inside, but could not come indoors because of the cross on his house. And then Abramelin the Mage killed the monster. I mean, and that happened on the banks of Loch Ness. So, I mean, again, that's another like 600, 700 AD type story. What are we to take of that? Because there's no other reports of Loch Ness monster happening like that. Nobody's battling the Loch Ness monster these days, whereas you go back and you look at the historical tradition of, Native Americans and the way they talk about Sasquatch. Well, their reports of Sasquatch line up 100%, 1-to-1 with people's sightings today. So you have to wonder, I mean, it is interesting that there are 2 reports of monsters in ancient historical texts at Loch Ness of a monster being there, right? Both times they're not really portrayed as animals that live there, whereas you have hundreds of years across hundreds of different tribes of people talking about hairy ape men that live in the woods. And those coincide exactly with the sightings people have today, just like you have the First Nations talking about Ogopogo and the manifestations when people see them versus the people are seeing Ogopogo today. Those sightings correlate one-on-one. So that's where I call into question the authenticity of some of the older reports of Loch Ness, because they're always highly spiritual. And I don't want to say that as a bad thing, because so are early reports of Ogopogo, so are early reports of Sasquatch. They're highly spiritual, but they're not fighting wars and using crucifixes to repel these monsters and I don't know, make them throw people up. So to me, that's where the difference lies. But also, Nash Hoover says hello.
Nice, thank you.
I've been texting him today. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
So I know that answer might not be make people very happy, but that's what I think. So
I think, a lot of this stuff, like you always say, until you got a dead one on a slab that you can study, I think, it's all up to interpretation, and it's all up to, you have to take into account all these reports and kind of put the best picture possible together as to what's actually going on. And that's all we really can do.
Right.
The one creature you were talking about there with the gold piece in his mouth reminded me of like the Kelpie mythology.
Yeah, that's what it sounds. And even in that story, it transforms from a horse into a monster.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a Kelpie transforms as well. So it seems more closely in line with that mythology. you know, and certainly Irish mythology has no shortage of monsters. And, you know, with anything, I mean, the whole colonization of Europe, or the proliferation of Catholicism, all those pagan traditions get mixed into it in some fashion. I mean, that's why Easter is celebrated when it is. You know, I mean, you look at, we say Easter is in tune with the spring, whereas if it was really a celebration of Jesus's crucifixion, well, Jesus was crucified on Passover. So, you know, I mean, that it falls at a different point every year, and it's not always aligned with the spring. So, I mean, again, and then you have Christmas as well, which is more pagan, comes from pagan traditions, you know, but all of that got mixed in when Catholicism spread out over Europe, you know, and you see the same thing in the Americas too. South America, there's lots of, you know, mixing of traditions, you know, and that's the way it works. So who knows? Maybe that story of Saint Columba is a mixture of Irish mythology and Catholicism together. It could be, but again, I don't know. I wasn't there in 565 AD. You know, so
The next episode of Small Town Monsters, when the time machine comes out,
yeah,
investigate all these ancient sightings.
yeah,
Now, that's a show for Discovery.
right.
Awesome. Okay, so here's another lake monster question for you. Have you guys seen the drone footage of the lake monster type creature that appears to fade out, giving credence to the interdimensional aspect similar to other cryptids?
I haven't heard that. I haven't seen that.
The only one I can think of is that one that the guy was filming a canoe race or something like that, and then he had the plastic dinosaur that was up on the shore, and he filmed it from above. That's the one I'm thinking of, but I don't think that's the one that he's talking about. So I don't know. I think any kind of creature that would be filmed from above in a water would just have to drop a few feet and would go invisible. You know, I would think that'd be pretty easy.
Yeah, because I've filmed whales in the ocean before, and, you know, as they're right there at the surface, you know, very visible, but all they have to do is dip down and they just disappear, you know, but so I don't know. But again, I haven't seen this footage. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly the footage being referenced there, but thought maybe in case you did. No. You know, another thought to bring up with this kind of same question is a lot of people talk about, you know, with these lake monsters and stuff, why don't we do thermal drone footage?
That's tough. I think it's tough with water because, again, you would have to have something very close to the surface for it to register, because, I mean, that water is all a uniform. Well, I guess I shouldn't say it's not necessarily a uniform temperature, but that's going to shield the temperature of anything in the water, unless it's right at the top of the surface or poking out. You know, I've used a thermal drone before, and granted, this was a few years ago now. They're a lot better now, but I don't see it changing necessarily for water. But I mean, when I was filming, I was in Alaska on the coast, and I turned the thermal and looked out at the water, and it's all a blanket uniform color. You know, of course, there wasn't a whale there. You know, it would be interesting. We should have tried it out when the whales were there, because if that would have given us an idea of if we can see anything, you know. But yeah, I would imagine just with the way water is, it would still be, no matter how good your thermal is, it's still going to be a pretty uniform color.
Water, for the most part, has a very similar property as glass. And you have to have a very special glass for the lenses of thermal imagers in order to shoot through it without it reflecting back at you. Like if you ever try and shoot thermal through a window or anything like that, it's not going to work. You're literally going to get a picture of yourself looking out there. And water is a very similar substance as glass in that aspect. So trying to shoot below it is not going to work.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd bring it up since we were talking about drones and stuff. And
No, that's a great point because I did try to do a thermal at the zoo, and try to film the gorillas behind their glass, and you can't. It's completely invisible, you know? Or what I mean is you can't see beyond it. So the gorillas were invisible. You know? Yeah.
Eli, what's your favorite zoo?
San Diego Zoo.
Nice.
Yeah, I have to go with that. I'm a San Diego Zoo member. Absolutely love that place. Yeah, I go multiple times a year. I live about an hour away, so I'm spoiled, but it's I mean, it's an awesome place. The thing about zoos that I love more than theme parks is that the animals are doing something different every time.
Mhm.
It's never the same thing, you know? So sometimes you go and the gorillas are taking a nap. Sometimes you go and the gorillas are fighting each other. You know, you never know what you're going to get. And there's just so many animals at the San Diego Zoo. And it's just such a beautiful location. Oh, man. We need to go soon. I need to go soon.
What is there's so many. I got to tell you my anecdote about the San Diego Zoo. I was out in California before you had like the GPS on your phone, right? So I had an old TomTom GPS in my car for navigation, and I put in the San Diego Zoo, or what I thought was the San Diego Zoo, and I went there, and it took me to the San Diego Wild Animal Park.
Oh, okay. So you know about
I've
the wild.
been to the San Diego Wild Animal Park, but unfortunately, I've never made it to the zoo because my GPS didn't want to take me there. But
Well, I like the Wild Animal Park a lot, actually. I like it. You know, fun fact, I did this last year. The Wild Animal Park has the longest zip line in California, which is really bizarre. But you get to, I mean, literally, I think it's like a 2-minute ride. You're flying down on the zip line over all these animals. Oh, man, it's awesome.
Very cool. I got to ask you now. So we're getting off topic on the zoo here, but I don't care. San Diego Zoo has one species of animal that, to my knowledge, they might have other ones there, but they have one species that is only at that zoo. It's the only zoo outside of the native animals country. What animal is it?
Is it the Przewalski's horse?
Nope. They got them at several zoos, actually.
I don't know. What is it?
Platypus.
Oh, yes, you're correct. Yes, it is.
Outside of Australia that has a platypus.
Yes, you're correct. Oh man, I should have known that. Dude. Yeah, because I love
the San Diego Zoo.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, the platypus. They're so cool when you can see them because they're little sneaky dudes. But they're a lot smaller than I thought they would be too. And they're fast. That's what it's like. I've been blown away by animals lately because, you know, at this point in my life, I've realized all the animal shows, all the animal documentaries, they're all in slow motion. Animals move crazy fast. I've been seeing lots of videos of like lions chasing gazelle and stuff. And it's like, dude, they go so freaking fast. It's like, yeah, you feel like you're watching this animal documentary and you're like, I could probably outrun a lion. And then you see it in real speed and you're like, oh, dude, no, that's it. I'm going to go 2 steps and I'm done, you know? And this is a lion. It's not even a cheetah, you know? You're like, I'm screwed. So.
Yep. No, I got to get out to San Diego sometime. San Diego and down in Texas. I want to get down there and see the chupacabra exhibit.
Oh, yeah. That would be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know he's not really there, but I still want to see the exhibit. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Back on topic here. While we're off topic, let's run over here to this question because it's been sitting there for a while. Is there anybody that's going to be at the Small Town Monsters event that you know of that is selling casting kits? You said there was going to be workshops on casting. Do you know if they're going to be selling any kits? And if not, can you recommend somewhere where Pete can go and find a casting kit?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be selling casting kits. Excuse me. Really, even if they were selling casting kits, I still think it would be a better idea to just go to a hardware store, like literally any hardware store, and get yourself a bag of hydrocal. That's what they're going to be using, most likely. You could get plaster of Paris. Here's the problem: plaster of Paris breaks down over time. So what you want is hydrocal because it's a stronger material, it's lighter, and it doesn't degrade. So yeah, that's what I would say. Just go to a hardware store, get yourself some hydrocal, and that's really all you need. Maybe a bucket to mix things in. And I think she still sells it. I can
I knew you
recommend
were going to go there.
the Forest Floor, her casting bucket. I think she still has it. I mean, dude, it's a collapsible bucket. It's a good one. So I would recommend that. That's all I'd have to say on that.
Yep. Emily Fleur on the Forest Fleur has a whole website, and you can get all kinds of cool stuff over there. And she has the collapsible buckets.
Yeah.
Shout out for Emily.
Yeah, shout out.
Awesome. So here's another question for you. You talked about, going out there and not being able to specifically, look for these creatures, obviously, because you don't have the time and the resources and stuff to do that. But when you're out there and you are doing the investigating and stuff for these documentaries and all the stuff that you've been involved with, small town monsters and beyond here, have you ever gotten anything? Like just been out there, shooting even just an interview or something, and Bigfoot walks through the background, or something like
Nothing like that. No, because usually when I do interviews and we use the woods as a backdrop, it's like someone's yard or something. It's like, oh, it's this nice woods. Yeah, just in the frame. There's a garage right here and a porta potty over there. It's like it's just right here. So no, nothing like that. Definitely had some instances where, I mean, doing Sasquatch research is probably the easiest, getting out and looking for that. Like with lake monsters, you're talking about very, very expensive things because you got the cost of the boat, then you have the cost of the equipment. With Sasquatch research, a lot of the times you can just get away with just going off into the woods, and that's pretty free. So, or if you are spending money, it's not $500 an hour. It's not like a boat. So it's much more manageable to do some Sasquatch research. And so a couple of times we've had things happen out in the woods while we were filming. Let's see. The most interesting example I can think of is probably Utah. And it was Alex and I, Alex Pedikov. We were hiking up into this like alpine lake. We were starting at 7,000 feet elevation and then hiking up to 13,000 feet. And it was like a 5-mile hike, and it in Utah. And here's the thing: I'm from California. We're a lot closer to the ground than 7,000 feet. And so when I go up into the mountains, the air starts to get a little thin. So, and Alex is from New Hampshire. And so he is also, too, a lot closer to the ground, or a lot closer to ocean level. So we're struggling going up this mountain. I mean, it's uphill. We're already have thin air. It's 5 miles, and we're hiking and hiking and hiking. And it starts to get dark, so we switch over to our headlamps, and it is dark. Maybe around 9 or 10 p.m. when this happened, and we're coming around this bend, and it hooked off to our right, and we heard this loud whack right off to our left. And so we turned our lights off, and, to me, I'm just like, it's kind of silly at that point to turn your light off because whatever is there already knows you're there. I mean, so whatever, we turn our lights off, we bust out our thermals, and we're not able to see anything. We turn our lights back on, boom, a knock from behind us. And so we did the same thing. We went lights out, thermed, didn't see anything. Lights back on, and again from the original location, but two, wham, wham. And again, we went lights out and everything, but nothing. I mean, nothing else happened that night. We set up camp right there, right off the trail. We got up the next morning to take a look around, and we noticed, and we did not see this at night, and we did not see this on our thermals, but so the road curves off to our right, but there's an incline right there off to the left where it dropped down about 10 feet. And so what I thought was, oh, something was standing right there, just where the road dipped out, because that's where it sounded like the knock was coming from. It sounded like it was coming from right in front of us. And it probably was. It was probably just down there. So when we were therming around, we didn't think to look down there. It was dark. We couldn't see it, you know? So we didn't know that was there. It was probably standing right there. So yeah, a little frustrating, but I mean, we caught that on camera, and that's in the episode. It's been mostly audio stuff with me. I know Seth Breedlove, my boss, has actually seen something while filming, and it just happened to be out of frame at the moment that it happened, but he swears up and down that he saw something run across a clear cut in Ohio, and that it was brown. And he said it was so fast he couldn't make out any definite features, but it looked like a person covered in hair running. And that it was like, just for a second, he saw it cross the power line, or the power line cut. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So it's pretty incredible. I mean, and that's the other thing too. Who knows? I mean, these things are so fast. You hear that from so many reports. They're so fast. And that goes back to my point. Animals are freaking crazy fast. They are. It's not a supernatural thing. They're just fast, dude. So yeah, they're just, they probably move so fast. I've probably been close to them. I've probably been in a position to where I could have seen them, but I looked away for 2-3 seconds, and that was enough for them to run from one tree to the other, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know I've been around mountain lions before, right? And it's like, I know I've been around bear before, but I haven't seen them. So, I mean, if we're talking about a large apex predator out in the woods, apex predators are already good at hiding. You just make it more intelligent, and it's even better, you know?
Absolutely. All right, we are almost here right at the end of the show. If you have any last minute questions for Eli, get them in the comments, and we'll try and get them in right here before we sign off. But Eli, tell everybody where they can find your stuff that you've worked on specifically, as well as all the small town monsters, documentaries, and films, and anything else that you guys got coming up that's cool.
Yeah, so Small Town Monsters on YouTube is probably where you're going to find most of my stuff. I'm currently doing a series called The Road to Discovery, which is about Sasquatch research in Washington and the Olympic Project. I think that's my personal favorite series that I've ever put together, so highly recommend it. Otherwise, I mean, YouTube is a great place to keep up on everything. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. Right now, we're really, really promoting Monsterfest 2. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, I think you can still get VIP tickets to this event. So if you're thinking about coming, go get yourself some VIP tickets. I'll be there. I'll be doing a live podcast there. You can meet all of these people if you would like.
Or you can avoid them if you don't like some of them. I mean, hey, it's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you, you know? I mean, you know, Lyle Blackburn, you know, I personally, no, just kidding. I love Lyle. But yeah, no, that's what I would say is check out Monsterfest. Check us out on YouTube. We will be launching actually our own kind of streaming service here very shortly. I don't have a date for that yet. It's called Unexplained TV. So it'll be something you can get on your like Amazon Fire Stick or your Roku or something like that, like a channel you can download, and then it'll just be streaming Small Town Monsters content all the time. So
very cool. That sounds awesome. All right. Well, guys, definitely go check that out, and make sure you head on over to Small Town Monsters. I believe I have the Small Town Monsters website, and your link to the actual event is going to be in the show notes for anybody. I figured one of the two of those will get you anywhere you need to go. So head on over to that and check it out in the show notes. And so glad to see Cryptid Campfire return, and would love a t-shirt. It has great graphics. There you go. We were talking about that earlier.
thank you. Yes, I'm wearing it today. Yeah. Yeah, I'll figure that out for you guys. I know a couple people would like t-shirts, so
very cool. Awesome, man. All right. Well, best of luck with all your research and your upcoming event. I'm sorry I can't make it out this year, but I know it's going to be a great time, and I hope to catch up with you again here soon.
Oh, we will. Don't worry. Yeah. All right, man.
Awesome. Take care, man. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that does it for this week's episode. Coming up later this week, we have the Paranormal Spectrum is coming up on Thursday this week. We have Stevie Hink on the show. She is a paranormal investigator from Rhinelander, Wisconsin, and she's going to be telling us all about the spooky stuff going on in the North Woods of Wisconsin, as well as more stuff that you can expect from the Hodag Heritage Festival this weekend. And then, guys, coming up on Monday, we are continuing all the cool guests here from the Marinette Menominee Bigfoot and Paranormal Convention, and we have Doug Hychek on the show on Monday. So going to be a great show. Looking forward to both of these episodes. So Thursday, 10 a.m. Central Time, and back here on Monday, same time at noon on the Untold Radio Network. So until next time, guys, I'm your host, Barnaby, and I'll see you on the edge.